war in West Asia has entered its second month. The battlefield is showing no signs of the war slowing down. The United States and Israel have continued their relentless airstrikes across Iran, with powerful explosions reported in Tehran, Isfahan. Despite targeted strikes killing senior Iranian leaders and damaging infrastructure, Iran has responded with a series of missile attacks and retaliatory strikes across the region. Washington carried out major strikes. It targeted a large ammunition depot in Isfahan using 2,000-pound bunker buster bombs. On the battleground in Iran, visuals released by the Iranian Red Crescent showing the aftermath of a strike in Tehran buildings, reduced to rubble, smoke rising, rescue teams searching for survivors amid the widespread destruction there. In Lebanon, smoke was seen rising from Beirut's southern suburbs after fresh Israeli airstrikes. The attacks come after Hezbollah fired rockets towards northern Israel in support of Iran. The IRGC has announced that from the 1st of April, it will target U.S. companies operating in the region in retaliation for the strikes on their pharma infrastructure. 18 major U.S. technology and industrial giants, including Microsoft, Apple, Google, Intel, Boeing, have been named as potential targets. President Trump, meanwhile, has threatened to destroy Iran's main oil export hub, Kharg Island, as well as critical oil wells and power plants. He insists that a diplomatic deal must be reached soon, also urging other countries reliant on oil from the Strait of Hormuz to protect their own interests, hinting that the U.S. will not always be there to defend global supply. Very significant statement. And shortly after Trump's post, Italy reportedly refused authorization for some U.S. aircraft that were headed to West Asia on a combat mission. The permission to land at its base there has been denied. This coming a day after Spain, remember, closed its airspace to U.S. planes involved in attacks on Iran. At the same time, the Gulf Arab states, including Saudi Arabia, UAE, Kuwait, Bahrain, Qatar, have established a unified position. They are calling for de-escalation and an end to the war. According to reports, Saudi Arabia, the UAE, Kuwait, Bahrain are pushing Washington to keep hammering Iran until there are significant changes in the leadership. Taking to X, Pete Hegseth posted pictures of his recent visit to West Asia over the weekend, where he interacted with soldiers on the ground. Hegseth asserting that the next few days in the war will be decisive and there is nothing Iran can do about it. Listen to this.
Just 1 month in, only 1 month, we set the terms. The upcoming days will be decisive. Iran knows that, and there's almost nothing they can militarily do about it. Yes, they will still shoot some missiles, but we will shoot them down. Of note, the last 24 hours saw the lowest number of enemy missiles and drones fired by Iran. They will go underground, but we will find them.
Conflicting reports have been doing the rounds on the next steps. According to the Wall Street Journal, Trump may consider ending the air campaign without resolving the Strait of Hormuz issue, leaving the possibility of a later operation to reopen it. In contrast, the Pentagon is considering weeks of ground operations reportedly deep inside Iran. All of the speculation coming amid U.S. troop movements across the region. We've been telling you about that. And Israel's defense forces have now announced that they will complete targeted strikes on Iranian military facilities by the 1st of April. Iran, in turn, has launched missiles at central Israel, all of which were intercepted by air defenses, though debris caused damage. The Iranian Revolutionary Guards claiming to have struck Israel-linked assets and U.S. forces across the Gulf. The human cost of the escalation also mounting. Casualty figures across the region are shocking, to say the least. Iran has lost 3,462 people, with 24,810 injured. Lebanon has 1,238 people dead, 3,543 Israel records, 32 killed, 6,090 injured. US reporting 13 killed, 302 injured. Those are the numbers on the map. Significant deaths and injuries also reported in Syria, Oman, Bahrain, Saudi Arabia, Qatar, Jordan. Now, additionally, 3 UN peacekeepers from Indonesia have been killed in southern Lebanon. 2 in a vehicle explosion of unknown origin, and 1 from projectile fire, as Israel and Hezbollah clash in the region. And with the war entering this decisive phase now, the outlook remains rather uncertain. The next moves by the US, Israel, and Iran could determine the future of the region and beyond. Stopping Iran's nuclear program has been at the forefront of Trump and Netanyahu's campaign in Iran. Operation Epic Fury, which was launched on the 28th of February, aiming to prevent Iran from achieving weapons-ready nuclear stockpile. And with the war raging for over a month now, and despite Tehran losing key figures in its leadership, Iran's fight back is making it hard for US and Israel to further make any deep military operation. While airstrikes and long-range attacks can damage facilities, destroying or removing Iran's nuclear stockpile would likely require a full-scale ground invasion. With more than 50,000 troops already present across West Asia and reports of 82nd Airborne slated to join that force, Washington's intention of putting boots on the ground has also been talked about. But such operation would not only face Iran's military fury, but also its natural defenses. Let's just break this down for you. The Zagros Mountains, which basically stretch over 1,500 kilometers across western Iran, creating a natural wall, shielding the country from land invasions from Iraq and Turkey. The range extending towards the southern coast near Bandar Abbas, adding an extra layer of defense. Meanwhile, the Alborz Mountains, running along the southern coast of the Caspian Sea, stretching about 900 kilometers. This range forming a barrier between the Caspian coast and central Iran, making any advance through northern Iran a complex and rather dangerous task. Second, Iran's central deserts, which also add another layer of protection. Dasht-e-Kavir in north-central Iran, stretching about 800 kilometers, with salty, rocky terrain, making vehicular movement difficult, large-scale operations also costly. And to the southeast, Dasht-e-Lut is one of the hottest deserts in the world, with temperatures reaching up to 70 degrees Celsius. The desert stretching 480 kilometers and creating a natural obstacle for troop movement, providing strategic defense depth behind Iran's mountain ranges. So that's what the scenario looks like. Iran also controlling key islands in the Persian Gulf and Strait of Hormuz, which provides strategic advantage, basically. Karg Island, which is located 25 kilometers off the coast, is an oil export hub with flat terrain, but easy to defend, using missiles, artillery and drones. Abu Musa, Greater and Lesser Thun are close to the UAE coast and critical shipping lanes. They allow Iran to control tanker movement into the Strait of Hormuz. These islands are heavily fortified, but small size and limited natural cover, making invasion difficult. Finally, the Hormuz Island Group, which includes Qeshm, Hormuz, Larak, sitting at the gateway of the Strait of Hormuz, control over these islands, giving Iran leverage over global oil shipping lanes. And their proximity to the mainland, making offensive operations extremely risky. Any ground operation into Iran would have to be highly specific, limited in scope as well. Otherwise, it could lead to endless deployments with huge costs and limited success, similar to past conflicts in Afghanistan and Iraq. Washington's high-risk military operations have failed before. Operation Eagle Claw in 1980 to rescue American hostages in Iran failed after mechanical issues. A sandstorm and a helicopter collision leading to the deaths of 8 American soldiers. In 1993, an attempt to capture a Somali warlord in Mogadishu ended in the Black Hawk Down incident, with 18 U.S. soldiers killed. These failures highlighting the deadly stakes involved in any military mission inside Iran. The mission to erase Iran's nuclear future remaining one of the most perilous and complex challenges faced by Washington and Israel as well, with mountains, deserts, islands forming multiple layers of natural defense in a way, and Iranian missiles, drones, military, of course, waiting. The line between success and catastrophe is rather thin. Experts say all these make such kind of operations unthinkable in a way, and high-stakes gambles like no other. A blunt refusal from a key NATO ally has once again put the spotlight on a critical vulnerability in America's war machine. Poland has said no to Washington's alleged request to sending its Patriot air defense systems to West Asia. And this rejection comes at a very significant point when the United States is reportedly burning through its most advanced missile interceptors against Iranian missiles and drones at a pace it reportedly cannot sustain. As per reports in Polish media, the US had quietly sounded out Poland, seeking the deployment of Polish Patriot battery to bolster its forces amid the intensifying war and missile confrontation with Iran. But Poland has shut this alleged request down immediately, reportedly. Poland's defense minister saying the Patriot systems will stay where they are. These batteries, he said, exist to defend Polish skies and NATO's eastern flank, making it absolutely clear that nothing is changing and there will be no redeployment, adding that Poland's security remains the absolute priority. Now, this is significant. Poland operating at least 2 Patriot batteries and has ordered for the purchase of 6 more such batteries from the United States. These US-made systems can reportedly intercept incoming aircraft and missiles at distances of up to 100 kilometers, making them vital to NATO's eastern defense shield. Globally, at least 20 countries operate Patriot systems, including the United States, Germany, Japan, Israel, Saudi Arabia, South Korea, Poland, Qatar, the UAE, Ukraine, among others. Washington has been scrambling for such interceptors. Now, the US has already redeployed Patriot and THAAD air defense batteries from South Korea to West Asia, highlighting the urgency of the situation, while reports in American media claim that the Pentagon is considering whether to divert weapons intended for Ukraine to West Asia. The US is also reportedly approaching all its NATO allies, looking for more air defense batteries. Each Patriot interceptor costing roughly $4 million. It is America's frontline defense against drones, cruise missiles, tactical ballistic threats. It can hit ballistic missiles at a range of around 35 kilometers and travels at speeds exceeding 4,900 kilometers per hour. Built by Lockheed Martin, the missiles are powered by a solid rocket motor. But then here's the actual pressure point. According to reports, in just 4 days of Operation Epic Fury, American Patriot systems defending Gulf states fired 943 interceptors, almost equal to what US factories produce in 18 months. And according to a British think tank, US military and Gulf states used over 1,280 Patriot missiles in the first 16 days of the war itself. Just to put that into perspective, the US manufactures only about 650 Patriot interceptors annually. And that makes it extremely difficult to replace the thousands that are being used in a matter of weeks. So now Washington is basically pulling air defense systems from multiple regions, including East Asia and elsewhere, to try and fill these gaps. And Poland's refusal is perhaps not just a diplomatic setback for the US. It is perhaps a warning that even America's closest allies, in a way, are unwilling to weaken their own defense, even at a time when the US itself is running dangerously close to the limits of its own missile shield.